Maaser Sheni Perek Daled Mishnah Yud Aleph, 11th Mishnah, 4th chapter of Maaser Sheni. We're going to continue our discussion of what if you find a kli. In our last Mishnah we said you found a kli and the word korban was written on it. Now our Mishnah continues. I'm going to say kli. If I find a vessel and it's full of stuff, corn, grain, whatever. Katuv alav kuf. If it just has a kuf, they would write a symbol on it. Korban. You have to assume korban is hegdish. Mem, maaser. If it says a mem on it, you assume it's maaser. And the Kahati says that we assume it's Maaser Sheni. Interestingly enough. You don't have to be said that what about, maybe it means Maaser Rishon. They said Maaser Rishon is Chulin, as we've learned many times. Maybe it's Maaser Rishon that didn't have Trumat Maaser taken off. Then the Chachamim said, it would have said Taf Mem, Trumat Maaser, or Tevel, Maaser Tevel, Mem Tet. He says, whatever, the Tosefta implies differently that Maaser, not like the Rambam, Maaser means you have to treat it like Trumat Maaser and redeem it, and also maybe it's Maaser Rishon and take off Trumat Maaser. Excuse me, you have to treat it like Maaser Sheni, and redeem it, and you also have to assume that it might be Maaser Rishon that didn't have Trumat Maaser taken off and treat it with the Chumrah of both. Anyway, the Rambam, as we said Maaser means Maaser Sheni. Daled, Demai. Tet, Tevel, Taf, Truma. In all these cases, you assume that the letter stands for something halachic. Okay, and therefore you have to treat it in the appropriate halachic manner. If it's tough, you found Truma, you have to give it to a Kohen or sell it to a Kohen. You can't benefit from it. Why? Shebeshad sakana you kotvin tough, tachat Truma. Because in the time of sakana, okay, they didn't want the non-Jews to know that they were keeping the halachot. So instead of writing the actual thing, they wrote the letters. They would just signify it. Everybody would know. Rabbi Yossi says, "Kulam shema b'nei adam hem." Baloney. It doesn't mean anything halachically. If you put a kuf on it, it belongs to Kahat. Dalit belongs to Daniel, etc. Okay, Taf belongs to Tom. I don't know. Okay, in all those cases, so you don't have to treat them like the halachot. He says Taf is Tuval, Terach, Rabbi Tanu. So they're all shema b'nei adam. Amar Rabbi Yossi continues, Afilu masach chabit v'him le'av perot v'katuv le'av truma. And he says, I don't care, even if it didn't say taf or mem, it said the word truma in it. You found a whole barrel full of fruit, and it says truma re'elu chulin. You don't have to treat it like truma. Why? Shani omer, I say, eshtakad hayta le'av perot truma. Yesterday it had truma, upina, and you unemptied and you filled it with chulin. You don't have to assume that once it says truma on it, it always has truma on it. Bartanura notes, Rabbanan argue, if you really had removed the truma, you would have rubbed out the tuf or the truma. Nobody would ever leave a barrel that says truma and then put chulin into it. It's because that's very confusing. And it's you think about it, like they have to mark. Think about this system. We don't live with this today. We don't have like fruit lying around that's asur, that has a total isur that you have to give it to the kohen when he's around. You're afraid your children are going to eat it. They must have been very, very careful about marking it, because otherwise, it's chayav mita, b'dei shamayim. You have to be very, very concerned about how you would treat these things. Nowadays, especially, we don't have tevel. It's very rare for us to have tevel lying around that you'd have to be careful about. And you think about it, it has to be marked in the appropriate way. We'll stop here. If you have any comments or questions, email me at aspoter@gmail.com. I'm dedicated our learning to the Rebbe of my father, of Simcha ben Yitzchak Kalman. Have a good day.